The movie begins with Oliver, a young man waking up from his sleep at night. He takes his medication and video calls his mother at the late hour of 1 a.m. Oliver affectionately refers to his mother as Mama and begins to share the details of his day with her. Mama asks him if he has found any girl to spend time with, and Oliver replies that he hasn't. She then urges him to take care of himself and cuts the call short. The following morning, as soon as the alarm clock rings, Oliver wakes up and heads to the bathroom to freshen up. Here, we get to know that he is the kind of person who likes to do everything on schedule. Oliver takes a bath, wears a uniform-like dress, and heads outside. He then gets on a boat and soon reaches a nearby park. There, he sits on a bench for the whole day, observing different ladies around him. Oliver is alone, and he talks to himself to fend off his loneliness. Later in the evening, he visits a bar and approaches a few girls, trying to start a conversation. Sadly, every single one of them ignores him and chases him away for his lack of personality. After wandering around for a while, Oliver's eyes get stuck on a girl who is sitting alone and drinking. Despite getting rejected a couple of times, he gathers his courage and talks to the girl. At first, she does not reply to him, but later, when Oliver mentions possessing narcotics in his apartment, she shows interest and starts following him. They soon arrive at Oliver's apartment, and he fulfills his promise by providing her with the narcotics. However, to the girl's disappointment, Oliver swiftly changes his attire and sets up his laptop before her. He then initiates a video call with Mama, informing her about bringing a girl to the apartment as he had promised. Surprisingly, as soon as Mama catches a glimpse of the girl, she unleashes a barrage of curses and foul words upon her. The girl is stunned by all this, and at the same time, she succumbs to the effects of the narcotic and falls unconscious. After a while, when she opens her eyes, she finds herself undressed, tied to a table. Mama is still on the video call, suggesting Oliver punish and kill her. The girl begs for her life, but Mama does not listen, and Oliver also blindly follows her orders. He forcefully assaults the girl before taking out his bag of sharp weapons, fulfilling his mother's wish. He then grabs the poor girl by her hair and slices her throat, killing her instantly. Mama becomes very happy seeing all this and urges her son to perform a more brutal murder next time. Afterward, Oliver shuts off his laptop and expresses remorse to the lifeless body for his actions. He confesses that he never wanted to be involved in such deeds but feels compelled by his controlling mother. Subsequently, he carries the lifeless body to the bathroom and chops it into pieces, placing them in a plastic bag. After this, he cleans both the house and the tools used. It appears as if he has been doing this for a long time. Unfortunately, later, when he submerges the plastic bag into a bucket of acid to clear the evidence, all the body parts disintegrate within seconds, except for the girl's head, which remains intact. The following day, Oliver embarks on a search for another victim and spends the entire day sitting in the park. This time, a lovely girl named Sophie approaches and takes a seat beside him on the bench. She attempts to strike up a conversation with Oliver, but he remains silent and abruptly walks away, leaving her feeling ignored. At night, after taking his medication, Oliver once again reaches out to his mother, following their usual routine. He apologizes to her for not finding a girl today. Understanding his situation, Mama advises him to rest and then disconnects the call. Later, Oliver inspects the head of the previous girl, which hasn't dissolved in the acid yet. To dispose of it, he carries it to a nearby river and tosses it into the water. The next day, Oliver wakes up and looks around at a comic drawing alongside the neighbor's cat. He engages in conversation with the cat and begins narrating his life story, using the drawings as visual aids. He reveals that he was raised by two monstrous figures, his father and his mother. His father, being the bigger monster, once came close to killing him for his actions. However, Oliver's mother intervened, saving his life by taking her husband's. From that point on, he has been under the care of a single monster, reluctantly carrying out actions he doesn't desire in life. Next, in the middle of the day, Oliver returns to the park and finds Sophie patiently waiting for him. Determined, he sits beside her and engages in conversation. Sophie responds warmly, and it becomes evident that she is developing a fondness for him. While they talk, she playfully runs her fingers through Oliver's hair and gives him a new hairstyle. However, as he is very strict about his schedule, Oliver doesn't engage in extensive conversation and simply walks away after some time. Back at his apartment, he takes his usual medication and initiates a video call with his mother. He shares details about his day, but purposely keeps the information about meeting Sophie to himself. After this, Mama says that she has some tasks to attend to, so she abruptly ends the conversation. As the days pass, visiting the park and meeting Sophie becomes a regular part of Oliver's routine. One morning, she presents him with a wristband as a gift, bringing immense joy to Oliver. They spend the entire day together, engaging in various games and exploring the park. Oliver experiences a sense of adventure and excitement for the first time, as he realizes that he has been under his mother's control all this while. Being with Sophie and embarking on these thrilling activities brings him true happiness. That night, Oliver stands before the mirror, rehearsing his plan to reveal everything to his mother. He intends to confess his love for Sophie and expresses his desire to abandon the dark activities he has been forced into. However, his hopes are shattered when he calls his mother and she notices the change in his hairstyle and demeanor. Mama erupts in a fit of rage upon hearing about the girl, asserting that nobody loves him as she does. She further insists that Oliver must bring Sophie to the apartment and brutally murder her. Oliver does not want to hurt Sophie, so he walks out of the house and talks to an escort on the way. He then brings her home and ties her to a table, with Mama on the video call. The escort has no idea about what's going on and seems very afraid. Mama then tells Oliver to punish the girl and end her brutally. Having no courage to deny his mother's request, Oliver does as ordered. The following day, Oliver and Sophie meet at their usual spot, and seeing him upset, she inquires about the reason. Oliver does not tell her about his evil mother, but just gives a hint that his life is miserable and he wants to get rid of it. To console him, Sophie also reveals about being an orphan and having a dreadful life with the evil family she got adopted to. Eventually, she mentions that she is happy now, having Oliver as a friend by her side. Hearing this, Oliver feels awkward and walks away from there, but not before promising to meet her the following day. However, unbeknownst to him, Sophie follows him, curious to know where he goes and what he does. She notices him entering his apartment and waits for him outside. To her dismay, he comes out of the house in the middle of the night and heads towards a bar. At the bar, he approaches different girls, holding a stack of money in his hands. As usual, all of the girls push him away, except for one, who agrees to go to his house. While Oliver is bringing the girl to his apartment, Sophie notices him and feels heartbroken. Sad, she gets out of her hiding place and leaves. On the other hand, as soon as they enter the room, Oliver calls his mom and introduces the girl as Sophie. Mama immediately starts cursing the girl, calling her by several derogatory terms. Surprisingly, the girl also curses back, showing that she is not afraid. She calls the woman miserable and worthless. Unfortunately, this turns out to be a bad decision, as Oliver gets angry and hits the girl with a sharp object, injuring her badly. She falls to the ground, and while Oliver is busy talking to his mom, tries to crawl to the door. Unfortunately, she fails to do so, and the evil maniac eventually kills her. The next day, Oliver freshens up and goes straight to the park. There, he meets Sophie, and she hugs him like nothing has happened. However, later, when Oliver tells her about what his mother makes him do every day, she reveals that she knows everything about it, as she followed him last night. Despite this, Sophie does not get angry and wants to change him for good. Oliver also cooperates and expresses his willingness to start a new life. That night, the two spend their time together talking and roaming around the city. Following this, Oliver returns home late and does not call his mother. He even takes off the watch his mother gave him and wears the bracelet that he got from Sophie, indicating that he wants to live a peaceful and happy life. In the morning, Oliver wakes up in a happy mood and dances with his neighbor's cat. He seems to be very excited, and after freshening himself up, he wears his uniform-like clothes, creates a new hairstyle, and heads straight to the park to meet Sophie. He waits there for her for the whole day, but sadly, she does not show up. This obviously upsets Oliver, but he does not lose hope and waits at the park for several more days. When she does not show up for a week, Oliver starts getting frustrated and loses his sanity. Next, he returns home and begins taking his medications more than prescribed. He cries in the bathroom and later takes off the bracelet and wears the watch that his mother had given him. Oliver then video calls his mother after a long time and informs her about the situation. In response, Mama scolds him and makes him clear that no one in this world loves and cares for him more than she does. She expresses her anger as Oliver had introduced a fake girl as Sophie. Mama also talks about the time when she murdered her own husband to save him. After this conversation, she again urges Oliver to search for girls and murder them brutally in front of her, as he used to before. Having no other options left, Oliver agrees to her words and sets off to find prey. He then brings a number of girls one by one to his apartment in the following days. Making them remove their clothes, he mercilessly kills them in front of his mother and satisfies her. He kills a bunch of girls, cuts them into pieces, and destroys the evidence by dissolving the body in the acidic solution. This process continues for a week or two, and Oliver is back to being a monster. Suddenly, one night, when Oliver is about to cut the body parts of a girl, Sophie enters his apartment and witnesses the bizarre scene in front of her eyes. Oliver's mother is on the video call, and she also notices her. Oliver stops what he is doing and inquires with Sophie about where she had gone. In response, she reveals that she was kidnapped by her evil family and was not allowed to go outside for many days. However, she somehow managed to flee and came straight to him. Meanwhile, Mama shouts at Oliver and urges him not to believe in the girl's words. She wants him to kill her immediately. Sophie then approaches Oliver and tells him to kill her if he doesn't love her. To Mama's dismay, Oliver ignores her, shuts down the laptop, and slowly walks towards Sophie. In the last scene, Sophie can be seen standing naked in front of Oliver. Despite having a dead body lying on the floor, the two come close to each other and kiss passionately. The movie ends with a crazy scene of the duo hugging, standing beside the dead body of the girl from before.